Welcome to today's video, and today I want to talk to you about what happens when you get a disgruntled or upset customer. Also want to talk to you about what you can do to avoid having a disgruntled or upset customer, but really want to focus on what you can do up front to make sure that that doesn't happen. I don't get very upset customers most of the time. I rarely have a customer that gets upset to the point where they get belligerent with me. Sometimes I get customers that are frustrated and they voice their opinions to me, just like anybody else. So we are the face and we're the front lines when it comes to these food delivery apps, and a lot of times the customers think that we can solve problems for them that they have when it's something that's completely out of our control. So today we're going to talk about what you should do if you have a upset, or maybe you have a customer that something is wrong with their order or their delivery, and what you need to do to make sure that you cover yourself and that you don't do something wrong yourself. Because if you go back to the old adage that the customer is always right, and you make sure that you give the best customer service to every customer that you deal with out there, then that'll make your life a whole lot easier. There's been some videos circulating on YouTube that people have been talking about that dashers and drivers have gone and actually confronted, and unfortunately it's mostly DoorDash drivers that you see this with, but there are some videos out there that show drivers that are actually confronting customers and that are getting shitty and belligerent with customers. And if you ever think that you should do that, what you need to do is simple: delete all the apps and don't do the food delivery gigs, because it's not for you if you think that that's the way that you should act towards a customer. I've been in customer service for years. I've done sales. I've done inside sales. I've done customer service jobs, and I've even done many years ago. I did retail in that I managed a gas station, and we had food and that kind of stuff. So I've dealt with customers at virtually every level in my career. And this job is no different to me when it comes to dealing with the people that you serve. So today I want to talk to you about what you can do up front to avoid the people getting upset in the first place. And then I also want to talk to you a little bit about what you can do if you do have an upset customer. And I'll give you a couple of examples that I've been through even recently of people that have been a little bit upset. So welcome to today's topic, and I hope you enjoy it. The first thing I want to say is that there are only a few reasons that customers would get upset when it comes to food delivery. You're basically going to the restaurant in place of the customer to get their food and delivering it to them. The biggest reasons that customers get upset is, number one, their food is cold. I got an easy solution for that. I've talked to you about it before, and that is to always put the food in a hot bag. Even when I go to a restaurant and let's say part of the order is ready but the other part isn't, a lot of times I will ask the people in the restaurant to give that to me so I can get it into my hot bag as quickly as possible, so that the food doesn't get cold. If it's a big order, I've got two bags. I've got one that's a smaller bag, and then I've got one that's a larger bag. So if it's a big order, I bring in my big bag. There's been a couple of times where I've had to use both of my bags for one order, and I always make sure all of the food goes into a hot bag. So up front, to keep the customers happy about the temperature of their food, always put the food in a hot bag. The only time I don't use a hot bag with an order is if it's an order of something like Dunkin' Donuts, where I'm picking up a dozen donuts for somebody, or maybe Starbucks, where it's coffees and they have the insulated cups, or they put coffee and a cold drink together. I don't necessarily use a hot bag when it comes to that, but any other time that I get hot items from a restaurant, I will always put the items in my hot bag. If it is cold items like a salad, I do not put the salad in with the hot food. I just leave it out. But other than that, I always put my food in a hot bag so it stays warm for the customer. The second thing I want to talk about is the delivery time, because sometimes you're going to run into customers that are going to be frustrated with the amount of time that it takes to get their deliveries. This especially happens when you're running what we call stacked orders, and they're very common on DoorDash, especially when it's really busy. They will assign you 2 orders. Either you'll pick up 2 orders from one restaurant and take it to 2 different customers, or it will be 2 pickups at 2 different restaurants that are close to each other, and you'll take those to 2 different customers. So obviously that adds more time to the delivery time, especially it happens for both of them, but it especially happens to the one that you're taking the second delivery to, because you might pick up their food at the first restaurant, go pick up the food at the second restaurant for the second customer, deliver to the second customer, then finally deliver to the last customer. I've talked about communication in a couple of my videos, and this is another key area where communication is really, really going to help you, and you can get it out of the way up front so you're not going to have an upset customer. What I do is this, is I let the customer know that I've arrived at the restaurant to pick up their order. As soon as I get there, even sometimes before I hit confirm that I'm at the restaurant for the app, I will text the customer and say, hey, I'm at the restaurant, here to pick up your order. Then once I get the order, I always text my customer to let them know I am leaving the restaurant with your order, and I will be there soon to drop it off to you. That is always my second text. When I'm leaving the restaurant, I text them and let them know that I am leaving the restaurant. Thirdly, I text a customer when I find out which customer is going to be the second or maybe third order. You're not going to find 3, or you're not going to get 3 orders at the same time very often, but you will get 2 orders a lot of the times. And this is where I text that second customer and say, hey, just so you know, I've got 2 deliveries and I will bring your order to you as quickly as possible. And what this does is this lets them know that because they can see on the app where you're going when you have their delivery, it lets them know, hey, I'm going somewhere else first, I've got another stop to make, and as soon as I am done with that, then I will be at your place to deliver your order. 99% of the time, 100% of the time, when they do respond to my text that I send, they say, no problem, be safe, and I look forward to my food getting here, and that's all. So I will never arrive at a customer unless they did not read my text. I will never arrive at my customer with an upset customer because the food has taken too long to get to them, because I take that extra step of letting them know that I have another delivery to drop off, and when I drop their food off, then I will go and straight to the second customer's house or business to drop off their food. Again, I've never had an upset customer because I text them all the time. So make sure you're always texting that second customer that you're dropping off to that you have 2 deliveries and you'll be to their place as soon as possible. If I have 2 orders at 2 different restaurants, I will literally sometimes text both of them and say, hey, I have two deliveries, so I will be there as soon as I can to drop your order. The third thing that you might run into when you deliver food, especially now that most restaurants that I go to, not all of them, but a lot of the restaurants that I go to, they don't confirm the order with me when I go to pick it up. And when I get the order, it is in a bag that is sealed, so I cannot look into the bag to see what is in there to make sure the complete order is in the bag. On all of the apps, whether it be DoorDash or Uber Eats or GrubHub, when you go to pick up an order, you can see what was ordered by the customer, and you know what the order was that they placed. However, when you get the food, a lot of times you cannot see what the order is. Another thing is DoorDash. They have an agreement with a lot of companies like Papa John's and Chipotle. That's a couple of them that I know off the top of my head, that the customer places an order either on the phone or they place an order on their website, and the merchant requests DoorDash to have a driver come pick it up and deliver it. So the DoorDash doesn't even know what that order is. So point being is, a lot of times you don't know what is in the bags, and you don't know if the order is complete. And on DoorDash, on the app, when you're finalizing it, it asks you about the delivery, and it has a spot on there that you can click the confirmation process, and rarely do I click that because the restaurants don't confirm the orders with me. I had two examples yesterday, actually, or Saturday, 2 days ago, that I had a delivery and the orders did not have the complete order in the bag. One was a very large order, and it was from Buffalo Wild Wings, and the customer got in touch with me after I had dropped off the order. They actually called me, and he said, "Hey, I'm missing a couple of things out of my order." All I did and all I said to him simply was, "I apologize for that, sir. As a delivery driver, I'm not on the order side of it at all, so I don't do anything with the order. I just pick it up and deliver it. If you could, please get a hold of DoorDash or Uber Eats or GrubHub on your app and let them know that your food was not complete. They will take care of it by contacting the restaurant, and they will, either issue you a refund or they will send another driver with the food that you were missing." So I always am apologetic up front. I always give my customers, if they call in that situation, I give them guidance on how they can handle the situation. But in no way, shape, or form do I ever tell them, "Hey, I'll go back and pick it up," or "Hey, I'll do this or I'll do that." It's not my job. My only job when it comes to picking up and delivering orders is to pick that order up from the restaurant, drop it at the customer. That is all I am obligated to contractually with the platforms. The other one was I got an order from Wings, etc., and they did not give me the drink. And I got a bag of food, and that's all I got. And the customer noticed it as I was dropping it off, and I said, "Get a hold of the app and let them know that you didn't get your drink, and they'll take care of it for you." But if you decide to take care of a situation like that on your own, you're free to do that. But understand that the miles are going to be on you, and the apps are not going to pay you anymore for going back to the restaurant, getting what they need, and bringing it back to them. So, it's kind of harsh to look at it that way, that you're going to say, "Sorry, customer, I can't help you." However, it's not your responsibility, and the apps aren't going to compensate you anymore for doing that. So if you decide to do that, kudos to you, and you're free to do that if you want. Go back to the restaurant, get what was missing, and take it to the customer. But number one, you don't have to, and number two, it's the platform and the restaurant's responsibility to rectify that situation, not yours. So don't ever get shitty with a customer. Don't ever confront them. Don't ever get belligerent with them if they call you with an issue, because it is a real issue to that customer. But deflect the responsibility onto the platform and the restaurant, and don't try to handle it yourself. So those are the three situations that you might run into that you get a frustrated customer. Again, those three situations are cold food, which you have complete control over, and it is completely up to you to make sure that food stays warm when you take it to the customer. The second thing is long deliveries, and you have some control over that, and that you can communicate with the customers and let them know that, hey, I have 2 deliveries, so you know, I'm thinking about you and I'm working on it, but it might take me a little bit longer. And then the third situation is missing items from an order, and you have zero control over that, and it's not your responsibility to fix that situation. It is your responsibility, because you are a representative of the platform. When you're taking deliveries for them, it is your responsibility, and that's my opinion. You might think different, but it is your responsibility to treat the customers with respect and with professionalism. And again, it goes back to your ratings. If you do that, your ratings will stay high. And if you don't do that, your ratings will go down. So always make sure that you don't say anything negative to customers. Offer them an apologetic ear, and you know, tell them this is how you can rectify the situation. And that is going to keep customers, a lot of the times it'll keep customers from being upset with you. I never have customers upset because they get cold food. I never have customers upset because I'm taking too long on my deliveries, because I always put the food in a hot bag, and I always make sure I communicate with my customers if I have more than one delivery. And in the case that I have missing items on an order, I always apologize, and I tell them get a hold of the platform, and they will handle it, and they will take care of it for you. So those are my 3 suggestions in those 3 situations if you get an upset customer, on how you should handle it, because that's the best way I've found to handle it myself. So I hope you liked today's topic, and I hope you don't have to deal with very many upset customers. It's not going to happen a whole lot to you. And if you take the advice that I gave you, you're going to take care of the situations either before they happen or the right way when they happen, so that you don't have disgruntled people and you don't have people getting shitty with you, especially for things that are out of your control. So with that, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to my channel. I'm also going to ask you if you would please like my video so I get in front of more people. And as I always say, if you know anyone out there that can use this advice, that needs help in learning how to do these food delivery gigs, then please share my video with them so that they can get the advice that they need, just like you are. And if you're a subscriber to my channel, I want to say thank you very much. And with that, I hope you're out there making all the money that you deserve for you and your family. And I hope you have a good time out there. And thanks.